as you'd expect, a good crowd in to watch the men's final.
Pass over there. Pass over.
And already Eric Johannes' marker is being asked to just establish that the jack has been rolled a legal distance. It has been. And so here we go with Safwan Saeed, Saf as we call him, looking to add the World Cup to the Junior World Cup that he won last year. My goodness, this young man is a talent. And if he chooses to stay in bowls for the next 10, 15, 20 years in Shubak, I think he's going to pick up some handy titles.
Yes, he already has, Steve. Gold medal in the Asia Pacific pairs in Melbourne last year. Darabin defeating Mark Casey, Kelvin Kirko in the final.
And Neil Spears, this man was right on the jack in the roll-up, we can tell you. An end each way, of course, and Neil was in very ominous form. Saf Saeed just holding that delivery position, holding it and holding it. Waiting for that good finish as it falls in and looks like it might be the shot. Neil Spears conveyed the bad news that Eric Johannes at least thinks he's down. Maybe not now. It's close for shot, isn't it? Saf Saeed will look for him to make his notes throughout the match about how his bowls have finished. And I think he'll be nearly 100% happy with that one. It just found that gap to roll through.
Really close.
Close for shot. I've seen that from above. Neil Spears. So that low right shoulder, but the action has served him well. It's got him all the way through to the final. And he played some terrific bowls in his semi-final, beating Paul Daly. It was way too good.
That's going to block the backhand for Saf. So Neil switched to the forehand. And see that right shoulder drop down quite low, not parallel. And Saf now, well, he's persisting on the backhand.
Thinks he might be able to get through, but he's got to arrive. And he hasn't quite.
Very close down.
Push too, would you think?
Yes.
What do you think if you were to make a decision?
Neil's not too sure, so he's asked the marker, Eric Johannes, for an opinion. That's quite legal.
Really close for two.
Close
One
for
or
two. Eric's saying,
Yeah.
Different one down
They look like one down.
well, Neil may, in that case, perhaps attack the...
Well, good luck picking that one, but actually looks like it might favour Spears, who has the white disc bowls, the green bowls with the white discs.
Well, there's only one bowl left, Steve, on this end, and I think Neil, maybe he'll consider attacking this bowl. He gets the inside edge, comes off and takes that one out as well. He'll score 2 shots. If there's any doubt at all, he'd be better off to attack.
Two of them. Two of them.
Get them both. And he has. Oh, well played. That's no measure about that. It's Neil Spears crashing into those 2 Saf side bowls and got them clean. He's got 2 in handy position. A fine first end result for the Scotsman. And he leads at 2-0 after 1. Well, never know whether side or Spears was holding. Doesn't matter when you clean out the opposition.
Andy, let us sit there, Andy. Andy.
So we'll watch with interest to see
Sit there.
the kind of length preferred by these players. If one can dominate, well, the other will be looking for a change of end, change of length.
Well, Steve, even though the short ends favoured Saf in his semi-final match against Steve Glasson, it seems fairly obvious that Neil Spears doesn't mind attacking. Suggests it won't be too long before we see Saf roll a maximum length jack. A very good start, just 30 centimetres or 1 foot past with his opening bowl, Saf Saeed.
Spears. Well, Saf Saeed will have, of course, seen the way Spears was peppering the jack in the roll-up and is continuing to do it in the first two ends of match play.
Well, they played one another in the sectional play in their pool, Steve, and Neil Spears had a victory there over Saf, so it's a bowl behind.
Between my ball and the jack, please.
Your ball.
My ball and the jack, yeah.
Yeah, 4 inches.
I think tactically, I've seen enough to suggest you keep away from the short jacks with Neil Spears. You must go long or 3/4 length. Test the Scott out over the longer distance.
Spears, a superlative draw shot player. There's a toucher from him. And he littered his semi-final match with similar bowls. Just loves finding the jack.
Good drive.
Oh,
Jack gone. No toucher. Saf's bowl is not a toucher. No, that was a dead bowl. A great result from Safwan. He's holding the shot now.
Not afraid to drive. 4 times in one end if he has to, as we saw in his semi.
Single bowl target too, Steve. Spot on.
Well, just put that one in the book. That's what I did there. Every bowl gets a marking in his notebook as to whether he's satisfied with it, where it finished, short, long, wide, gets a tick or some other indication. Spears not reaching. What was that, he says?
Yeah, good shot.
I'm just looking from the mat end. You see that the jack is where that yellow mark is there. That indicates to the players that the jack is sitting in the ditch just there. Any touches, also another mark goes on, but there's obviously no touches in the ditch, and I think Saf's bowl is nearest to that jack in the ditch. So this could well be drawing for number 2. After a full-blooded drive, he's going to be a little bit careful not to lose this bowl in the ditch. There is a tendency to be overweight, so psychologically you try to draw a metre and a half short, otherwise you run the risk of going flop and wasting your bowl.
Look very close for down.
Now, how many seconds does, if Neil Spears is 1 down, he's got 3, you see the 3 white disc bowls, they all belong to Neil, but I'm not sure whether he can get at that shot bowl. Might be safer to draw, take the 1 on offer.
Well, it's a well-practiced drill by the better players, drawing to the ditch. Has Neil done enough of it to sneak a shot here? Certainly has. And it looks like another shot to the Scotsman. waiting for
The umpire.
Yeah, just
Umpire.
agreement here. Well, they're calling the umpire. It's such a long measure for the second shot. So there'll be a delay here while we work out the score here in the second end, with Spears having picked up 2 shots in the first.
That's how you got it.
Neil Spears in his semi-final was too good for Paul Daly. He just came up with toucher after toucher. It's almost a magnet to his bowls, that Jack. And he was totally dominant in his semi-final. It was much tighter in the other semi, but Saf Saeed prevailed. So it's just the 1 in the second end to Neil Spears of Scotland, and that constitutes a 3-0 lead over Saf Saeed of Malaysia.
That's good.
Saeed is a very calm customer on the rink, but also capable of unpredictable bowls. Third end, first set, men's final, and Saf Saeed needs to get on the board. Sure, he won't want to let this set go too much deeper without getting some numbers up there.
Well, that's right, absolutely, Steve. And he's tried a longer length here, but he's brought the mat up 6 metres and he's rolled a 29-metre length, 28 metres. I really think if Saf's going to get back in this first set, he needs to go ditch to ditch, the full distance, 33 metres. Well, Neil's turned his back on that, so this longer length is still running. It's good. He's in good touch. He knew straight away that that bowl was a metre short. It's a good sign, actually, when you let the bowl go and you know exactly where it's going to finish. There's nothing worse than to get the right line, or what you think is the right line and length, and only to watch it pull up a metre or 2 away from the jack. It was
Saf Saeed here in the third end might be starting to build something.
He keeps the eyes up on the target area. He doesn't drop the eyes at all, Neil. Keeps the head up. Definitely long ends would be the way to go against Neil. It's 2 down, insufficient correction. And we just look at the eyes. See how the eyes stay up the rink toward the bank and the jack, and generally the further you sight up the green, the easier the game is, generally.
Oh, just misses the jack and sails through. Why is that, Shuey? Looking up the green is better.
Generally, your peripheral vision, Steve, whilst you're looking out at your target where this bowl's heading, Neil's looking up towards the perhaps peg up the other end. The peripheral vision enables you to control the weight better. As soon as you drop your head, you lose all perception. Well, Neil's got plenty on this. You'll need contact, inside edge, and the jack. Through the gap, but fell back. A lot easier to get better weight control by looking up. Oh, he's drawn the shot. See Saf always see the head up, looking right at. Well, he's attacking this. He's going for the bare jack. Cannot see the shot bowl. He wants the jack. Oh, he sliced it. That's going to give him the shot, but if he Neil with 1 to play.
Well, he's not afraid of this risk-taking drive. The jack is respotted. Saf Saeed is holding, but you can see the room that Neil Spears has to draw to.
Only thing though, Steve, sorry, the only Saf is does he mark that one good or bad, Steve?
Well, in the final end of the first set of his semi-final, he drove 4 times against Steve Glasson. Had a couple of misses. This one finished out of bounds and was respotted. Then, with it on that spot, he picked it up clean and into the ditch. It took him 4 goes to get it right, but he stuck with the tactic, and you've got to applaud his courage. And of course, he told us afterwards he'd never done that before.
Different speed out here. Well, he's kicked that. He's conceded the shot. So, wow. Wow. Well, Saf hadn't declared their head, and Neil had kicked other bowls away, and Saf said maybe it was more than one.
Well, he's kicked that a lot. I can't. Oh, I see. There was another Saf Saeed bowl that was perhaps a possibility there. A moment of controversy, but it's all done now. They've been kicked away, and 1 to Saf Saeed. He's on the board and given the mat to his opponent.
Interesting, Steve. If Saf had called the umpire, which he wouldn't do, but he would have got 2 shots. Not allowed to disturb the head until your opponent agrees, so Neil Spears would have had to concede the extra shot.
Saf Saeed still smiling after that rather unusual end to the third. But he's on the board with that single. Trails 3-1. And I guess it can play on the mind of someone if they think, hey, perhaps I did the wrong thing at the end of that previous end.
Yes, but Eric Johannes, I think he backed up Neil's opinion that it was only definitely 1 shot. But if Saf wanted to stick his heels in and call the umpire for a decision, he hadn't declared the head, he'd be entitled to pick up the bonus shot if he felt he could have been holding 2. His longer lengths are suiting Saf.
And he didn't roll the jack this time.
And he hasn't got, it's not full length. The jack is up about 1.5 meters, so it's 31.5 meters in length. One reason the players quite often, Steve, if they, like I think Neil goes better on the very short ends. One reason he rolls the jack long is he's thinking, which is like reverse psychology, thinking, well, if I win this end and give the mat back to Saf, he'll go short, which is my favourite length, so I'll try to fool him and go long so he doesn't roll a long end again. So if you go long once and it fails, don't give up that game plan. Go 2 or 3 times on your plan until then you're convinced it's not working.
Spears up 3-1 in the match. And he's got the shot here. A beauty from the Scotsman. And again he's running at it. And wide this time.
Taking out Neil's back bowl, so not completely wasted.
Shot ball stays intact on the rink. He's certainly been emboldened by his success in the semi-final against Steve Glasson with those 4 drives, although only one of them was absolutely what he wanted.
You see, Saf has the best back bowl, and the jack is on the line behind that green bowl of Neil Spears, so he'll drive again. Neil would be well advised to pass the jack this time.
Maybe even get in the way.
Well, that's 2. It's not such a safe 2. Saf's had a good look from behind the head. He's made up his mind. Neil's not sure what he was going to play, Saf. And I think we'll see a draw shot. We'll see a drive. The problem for Saf, if he hits that bowl there, this bowl looks like it'll come straight through and miss everything. He'd be 3 down. So he'd be looking for solid contact on the shot bowl and movement on the jack.
Little tilt of the bowl in the hand that's characteristic of Saf's delivery. One out. And it'll be one. So Neil Spears of Scotland, so he's out to a 3-shot lead after 4 ends. Eric Johannes holds up the white lollipop, favouring Scotland. 4-1 after 4. Well, Spears is a great draw shot player, and they're finishing very nicely. One was taken away, but he picks up one in the 4th and has won 3 of the first 4 ends. Well, Saf Saeed is being dominated somewhat in this match so far, Shuey. 3 of the first 4 to Spears.
Yes, he's rock solid, isn't he, Neil Spears? He's just grouping better. Saf, just some inconsistency. That's just a completely wasted bowl against a player in fine form. Matt has been brought up by Saf about 6 metres. It's rolled a 27-metre length. It's all about correction. Saf 1 metre over, Neil 1 metre short. And you'll very rarely win a game of singles with your last 2 bowls. You generally win with your first 2, so whichever player corrects best with the second bowl will be favoured to win this end. No correction at all in terms of weight.
I just think Saf Saeed, sure, he's looking a little disappointed with himself and just almost wondering, where is that form that I had in the semi-final? I was playing better than this.
Yeah, well, I guess a victory over Steve Glasson, you'd think, well, fantastic, and he's got work to do now. Look at that for a correction. Superb. And the drive is blocked. Neil's first bowl is 1 metre short, right on the line, so there's no way Saf will be driving this end. Oh, look at that, Neil Spears, 71% effective, and as you mentioned, Steve, it's 50%. That's nowhere near as consistent for Saf compared to his semi-final match.
Last ball, Jack K, yeah?
Yes.
Distance.
You got about the off inch. Off inch.
Spears on the chase, looking for a couple here.
Look at the line of the first 2 bowls, and once again, just, well, that's blocked the backhand up for both players.
Yeah.
Saf is 1 down. He has 2 bowls behind. He'll be playing forehand, coming in with a tightish line, hoping to turn that bowl out, but propel the jack through to here to bring these 2 bowls into the count. And his bowl with the outside edge on the shot bowl will also follow through with the jack. Could go here from 1 down to 3 up if he executes this forehand conversion shot.
Saf just doesn't look on top of his game in this final. Not yet, although it's only halfway through the first set.
Sorry, Steve. Neil's had a good look at the scoreboard. He can see a chance here. He's 4-1 up, holding one. He's looking not for a second shot, but for third and fourth. So he's still undecided. It's most likely worth the risk.
See where that left toe was.
Yeah. I think he'll just draw the shot. It's a safer shot tactically. He's already shown us that he's accurate with the weighted shots. So it'll be very interesting. He may attack this bowl, take that bowl out. That will certainly count, and this one may even count as well. So he's on track for 3, but safer option is to draw for 2. And he was in 2 minds, and in the end played nothing.
Yes, when you're caught between options, you often come up with neither. That's rubbish. But it is another one to the Scots, and a 5-1 lead, and 4 of the first 5 ends. Just picking them up little by little. Well, Saf Saeed defeated Steve Glasson in his semi-final with some superb draw shots and a mixture of weighted shots as well, and Steve Glasson couldn't rescue it, and Saf Saeed beats a man he greatly respects in the final now, and Saeed is struggling against this very accurate Scotsman, Neil Spears.
Yes, he's played Steve Glasson twice now, and for 2 victories, and he's played Neil Spears once for 1 loss. And this is the big one. Sectional play really doesn't count for much now. Plays in the 3rd position for Scotland, Neil Spears, for the legendary bowler Willie Wood. A fantastic tutor there, Neil Spears, with a player like Willie Wood. Many decades of experience at the highest level.
Perhaps Willie said before Neil left Scotland, I've been to Warilla and had a couple of good results there. Neil, you'll go all right.
Yes. Oh, that's a good correction. Saf on the forehand with his first, switches the backhand and draws the shot. Yes, many years ago, Steve, Willie forfeited his 3rd bowl when he was matched down in a singles match to the shot clock, and then regrouped, and with his very last bowl sat the opposition bowl out to win the match. Neil Spears, he's in the same ilk, isn't he? Like, he's such a serious competitor. He's not that stylish, he's not flamboyant. He just goes about his business of drawing shot after shot near the jack. You wouldn't have a clue what he's thinking.
Not quite there from Saf Saeed. I hate to ask you this off the top, Shuey, but Willie racked up about, what, 6 or 7 Commonwealth Games, was it?
I think he's played more Commonwealth Games. He was furious, actually, when he wasn't offered to carry the flag in the opening ceremony. I think it was his 6th in a row or 5th in a row, and missed out on marching into the stadium with the Scottish flag, and just missing there. So Saf should score at least 1 on this end. Neil still has 1 to play. But yes, it was, well, Willie Wood, he's been at the top for years. Motor mechanic from Guildford, plays at the East Lothian Club in Edinburgh. Neil Spears playing out of the West Lothian Club. It's George Snedden, Linda Brennan, a couple of other Scottish international players. Now Saf, looking good for number 2.
Oh, got a little bit of help there. from the Neil Spears bowl and stops for 2. 1 to play though for Spears. That was going to run away if it hadn't made that slight connection.
Yeah, it was a good slide, had good weight. I think Neil will attack these 2 bowls, Steve. I'd say maybe forehand. I don't know whether he can play control, wait inside edge, come off and get that bowl as well. A couple of metres of running.
Pretty interested in this. As well he might be. Oh, who's got it now? Who's got that now? That is very tight for shot. And Eric Johannes calls the umpire, and I just need a toothpick to measure this one, Shuey.
Yeah, it's a good shot, this. Played 3 on the backhand, switched to the forehand.
Saeed would love to have this shot because he's down 5-1 in the match. Ever so precise. At least both bowls are on there. A flat surface.
Saf is holding the mat, and I'd suggest that Neil Spears would give the mat away, so maybe Saf feels it's 1 down. Yep, Neil Spears has got the shot.
So another one to Spears. 5 of the 6 ends played going to Scotland, and Saf Saeed trails 6-1.
Looking at the overhead from both players, this is the backhand delivery, and see the very similar in forward body momentum. Saf with the slightly longer step on the right, but similar follow through from both players. Interesting action shot that.
Well, if Saf Saeed was to try and put a positive spin on things as he looks at a scoreboard 6-1 down, is that it's nearly all singles that he's conceded. It's not a heavy loss in any end. Dropped 2 in the first. If he could be good enough to pick up a 3 or something like that here, Shuey.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a worrying sign, as far as I'm concerned, Steve, for Saf. When he draws close like that opening, he hasn't plastered the line, whereas when